Okay, we are back with more Please Be Happy. In the last one, we talked with Aspen about how her book thing went. Didn't go good for her at all, which made me really sad. And then we went out into the woods. We've talked with Silver, found a bird. We brought it home, got it taken care of. It was a good, chill time. With all that being said, let's just go ahead and jump on into it. These visual novel intros are always so weird for me. Because with Let's Plays, it's like, oh, yada yada, here we are, here's what we're doing, and then we're doing it, and like I'm still talking and stuff, but here it's like, all right, let's jump into it. When bedtime rolls around, it has a different vibe, you know? When bedtime rolls around in the evening, I'm more than ready for it, climbing over my bed to reach the window. I pause for a moment to enjoy the breeze. I've kept it open all day. As I reach up to pull it shut, the wind intensifies for just a moment. The flowers on my desk shake and my scrolls roll off the edge and onto the floor. I slide the window closed with a dull thud and then pick up the fallen parchment. It's been a while since I've opened it, but I still know every crease and rough edge by heart. Unfolding it, I stare at the familiar but unfamiliar scrawlings. What would that guide at the museum exhibit have thought if they saw my scroll? Could they have read it? Well, they probably would have thought I stole it from somewhere. No matter what it says, I probably get more use of it than Zhang ever expected. What kind of person gives a scroll to a fox? Then again, that was part of what made them so special. My phone buzzes and I set the scroll back down as I see Aspen's picture appear.
Hey! Hey, you weren't in bed yet, were you?
Nah, not yet. Soon though.
Well, I won't keep you up. I just wanted to say goodnight again, and that I love you.
I love you too.
Aww. This might sound weird. I love how much they say I love you, but the fact that that's not all they say. Like, so many of my, not to out myself too much, but a friend really wanted to watch Pretty Little Liars with me, so I've been watching that with her. And, like, the main relationship is so gosh darn terrible. It's just, like, the worst. All they do is kiss and say I love you and stuff related to that, but they don't really have, like, a dynamic of any kind. But here... And there's also like a flip side, like other shows will be like, yeah, they have like a good dynamic, but they don't really say I love you, which I always think is a little weird. Like I always say it for like the dramatic moments. But here I actually really like it, and it's really refreshing that like not only do they have like a really good and fun dynamic to like read about and experience, but they also just like say I love you like frequently. And I don't know, it's like I didn't realize I had like been missing something like that, but it's like really refreshing.
But I don't mind staying up. Is everything okay?
I can hear the sound of Aspen's blanket and an annoyed meows as she moves around to the other end.
I'm fine.
Around on the other
I'll
end.
fall asleep, thinking about all the editing I have ahead of me. Today was nice though. I'm glad I got to see you and Juliet. And Silver.
Me too. And the burn.
Aspen laughs.
Right, and the bird.
Earlier, I told her and Juliet about the other times I had met Silver, and some of what I'd learned about magic. I kept the details of her past secret, though. It isn't mine to talk about.
I'm very glad he met the two of you as well.
Yeah, well, I couldn't just leave it there. Even if it can't have a normal bird life or live in the forest. At least it's got someone to take care of it now. I didn't really do that much.
You did plenty. Many people would have left him to die, if they even noticed him at all.
Maybe. Yeah.
I also didn't tell her and Juliet about how Silver thought we should just abandon him, too. The reason I gave Silver for why I couldn't do that was true, although I can't blame her for not believing me or understanding. Someone saved my life once, too, but Silver was chosen to die.
Should have a chance, too. Even though it's just a bird, it's still alive. I'm sure people would have said I'm just a fox before. I didn't even know how to help it. I just hoped you or Juliet would. That was really the lucky part. That and Juliet knowing someone else to contact. It took a lot of people to save that bird, huh?
Even Silver in her own weird way, I think she was glad it survived too. There's no response from the other end, although the call is still going, just a faint sound. I listen to... Oh, did she fall asleep? Oh, that's so cute. I listen to the noise for a second and realize it's her breath. She's already fallen asleep. Smiling, I leave the call running as I set my phone next to my pillow and lay down. After a few seconds, the screen turns off, Aspen's photo disappearing as well. Oh, wait, whoa, what? We're just skipping 2. This is like the first time we've ever been hit with like a 2 weeks later. Normally, like in like the story will be like, and then like it's been a little while since this happened. It's been a little while since this happened. What the freak? 2 weeks later. Huh?
Okay, you can open your eyes.
What's happening? Are we like are we moving in with Aspen? Is that what's happening right now? What? I take my hands off my face and look around. Aspen's apartment doesn't seem any different than usual, aside from being a bit untidy. But she stands there in front of me, beaming with her hands behind her back.
Maybe it's a little silly to celebrate a 1-month
Oh.
anniversary, but I have a gift for you.
A gift?
Aspen laughs and steps closer to me.
Yes, although it's kind of a gift for both of us.
Oh? Slowly, she brings her hand around and reveals what she was hiding. It's a stack of papers, too small to be her manuscript, but similar. She turns the stack so I can see the front page, which only has a few words written on it, short enough that I can sound them out.
And the grove.
What? What's this? What's this?
The title was supposed to be a placeholder, but I rather like it.
Is it like supposed to be like a shorter book or something that they can like read together?
It's a story that I wrote. You can probably guess what it's about.
I flip through the pages. There's only text on one side and a lot of blank space. Still, just holding and looking at this present makes my heart swell.
You already wrote a new book.
It's much shorter than my novel. More like a kid's book than anything.
Still, that's amazing. I didn't even know you were working on this.
That's because it was supposed to be a surprise, silly. It's
Aww.
just working on all these changes to my novel. I needed something that I could write on the side for fun.
No wonder you've been so tired all the time. You've been working on 2 things at once.
That's my life for real. Having 2 channels, live streaming, making shorts, editing long, spending weeks editing one video, writing scripts, writing a book, drawing, working out, trying to have a social, too much. So I respect the grind, Aspen.
It's fine. I'm fine. Once I'm done with the edits, everything will be back to normal. Spending time on this felt like a treat.
With a bright smile that doesn't quite hide the bags under her eyes, I wish I could believe Aspen when she says she's fine.
More days before I have to send in my revisions anyway. So by next week I'll be able to relax again.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed. The area around her desk is messy, more than the rest of her apartment. Aside from her laptop and notebooks spread across it, there are empty coffee cups, loose sheets of paper, and wrappers from fast food and frozen meals. The grind set. The covers on her bed are unmade, revealing the shoebox that's hidden beneath it. The lid is bulging with how many letters are stuffed into it. Noticing my stare, Aspen zips over to the bed and pulls the sheets down to hide the box, kicking some of the clothes and other stuff on the floor under the bed too.
Here, for you. I love you.
I take the papers as gently as I can and hold them as close to my heart as I lean in to kiss Aspen.
I love you too.
Like always, the moment is way too short, but Aspen's smiles looks brighter and more real when we
Go
part.
ahead and make yourself at home. I need to take care of the cats and do all my other after-work chores.
Okay. Let me know if you need any help.
Of course.
Another kiss on the cheek and then she's off. It'd be really cute though if like she specifically like if her syntax, word choice was like easier to read for someone who's not like good at reading it. Like she used like shorter words. She wasn't like trying to be as like flowery, using big old words for trying to explain things. Like she like kept it simple but effective is what I'm trying to say. Also, what is that plushie? I've never noticed like her plushie back there. It looks like a super cool Eevee. Like, immediately what came to mind is like, it looks like Eevee crossed with like a moth or something. That looks so cool. And same with like the owl bear or whatever that is. That's so cute. What the freak? How did I ever notice that before? On one hand, it's hard to believe we've already been dating for a month. On the other, it's hard to believe it's only been a month. It feels like ages since we said goodbye at the bus station. I've had that feeling several times since coming to Wellington, where the days feel like they either rush by or drag on. Either way, they've passed, and I've been here for almost 3 months now. It's not the longest I've lived in one place, but I'm sure that at some point I'll pass my record. I kick off my shoes and lay back on the bed, staring up at the ceiling with Aspen's new book on my chest. Everything around me has the faintest trace of Aspen's perfume, along with her ever-present smell of coffee. The blankets, the sheets, the pillows, all of it. Even out of the room, her presence is still all-encompassing. From the bathroom, or the sound of the running shower, I can hear Aspen singing something to herself. I wonder if she knows I can hear her. Or maybe she's doing it because she knows I can hear her. Although her singing voice isn't the best, it's surprisingly clear and stable. I like listening to it just because it's hers. Oh, stop. Right when I'm about to sit up, one of Aspen's cats, I think it's Byron, hops up on the bed beside me. I expect him to run away as soon as he recognizes me, but to my surprise, he doesn't. He sniffs my ears or my tail, but then cautiously nuzzles my face. Aww.
Hey, buddy.
I reach out to try and pet him, but that turns out to be too much and he darts away.
It's better than last time.
I move down to the floor with my back against the bed, setting the papers in my lap. They're stapled together at the top, but I'm afraid of tearing or damaging them. Even though I know Aspen could print another copy, there's something special about this one. It's the one she made just for me. I make sure there aren't any other cats around who might cause any issues, and then turn to the first page. In the middle of the forest was a grove, and in the middle of that grove was a log. It had been years since it had fallen, once one of the proudest trees around, and now in death was the home to an abundance of life. It takes me a long time, probably longer than it should, to read through, but it's not just my slow pace with the words. It's also the memories that they call to mind. I can picture exactly what the log looks like. If I close my eyes, I can smell the damp grass and feel the breeze on my fur. Seeing Zhang Ying's words written out and I didn't realize quite what that she would wrote out Zhang Ying's words. She probably didn't do it exactly, but more like a adaptation is what it's feeling like, I suppose. I'm not exactly sure how to explain what my thoughts are. I think it's an adaptation because she said she's been working on it. If she was just copying it down, I guess that isn't really. I guess she has to translate it and stuff, but that's not the hardest. I mean, no, translation is hard to do. I don't want to say it's not. But she made it sound more like she was writing it. You know what I mean? So I think it could be an adaptation essentially of one of Zhang Ying's works. Seeing Zhang Ying's words written out brings a lump to my throat. I carried them around my head for so long before I even understood them. Now seeing them written down, they'll last forever. Some of the details are different, but from reality, of course. And of course, Aspen's book doesn't use any names, but it's still my story. Oh, okay, so yeah. So that's essentially what I'm thinking. Okay, it wasn't one of Zhang Ying's works exactly, it's just telling the story of Miho's life. That's what I kind of assumed it was. I didn't explain that well at all. I'm so bad at this. You think I'd been only doing this for a little while, but no, I've been doing this for a long time and I'm still bad at it. Back when I first met Aspen, I told her I didn't have any story to tell. Now, reading it back to myself, I can kind of see why she found it so interesting. Maybe there's always been more to me than I thought. Eventually, Aspen emerges from the restroom, her hair still wet. Spotting the papers in my hand, she approaches with a smile.
Hey, no dripping.
Oops, good save.
I can't let my favorite book get ruined after all.
Favorite book?
Yeah, I loved it. I really loved it.
After putting the papers on the nightstand where they'll be safe, I stand up so I can give Aspen a
I'm so
hug.
glad. That makes it all worth it. I was worried I might get something wrong or forget an important part, but...
I cut her off by tapping a finger to her lips.
It was perfect.
After, kissing my finger, Aspen smiles. Oh my gosh. Aspen goes to dry her hair and then bustles around, finishing up her chores before returning to my side. Leaning against me, she yawns.
You should go take a nap.
Or we should take a nap. Oh, wink. Even without the yawning, it's clear that she needs rest and hasn't been getting much.
You're here. Besides, I haven't done any of my writing for the day.
Wouldn't you write better if you're not tired?
Shh, Miho, stop. That's not how it works. Aspen, keep on the No, Aspen, please do take care of yourself, but I understand where her head is at right now. That was me all through November until my wrist actually fell apart. I was writing so much.
I haven't been not tired for years. And what about you?
Oh, she speaks the truth constantly. Aspen just constantly spits facts.
What about me? I'm fine.
But if I'm asleep, then that's less time that I get to spend with you.
Oh.
We're still together. It'd be the same as if you were writing, right?
You have a point there.
I sit down in her desk chair, blocking off her computer and crossing my arms. Melodramatically sighing, she lays down on the bed, but still faces me.
All right, if you insist. But only for half an hour or so. If I ever sleep, you better wake me up before you leave, alright?
Okay.
I have zero intentions of waking her up. She gives me a doubtful eye.
I mean it. No slipping out silently so you can let me sleep, or any nonsense like that.
Okay, that's exactly what I'm planning.
I won't. I promise.
Removing her glasses and putting them on the nightstand, Aspen offers me one last smile. Putting the blankets up to her shoulders, she rolls over to face the wall. It doesn't even take a minute before I can hear the shift in her breathing. She's out like a light.
Just like on the phone.
Half an hour comes and goes while I watch videos on Aspen's computer or reread the book she wrote for me. Of course, she shows no signs of waking up anytime soon. Good. She needs the rest. I won't wake her up, but I won't break my promise either. It's simple. If I can't leave until she gets up, then I just won't go. Aww. I entertain myself and time passes by. Byron the cat gets bold enough to try approaching me again, and Percy comes with him too. They sit down in unison near my feet. Also, is her, like, Eevee moth, like, stuffed behind the wall? Or is it just, like, the top half of a creature? I can't tell. Finally deciding I'm not a threat, they both rub against my leg, letting me scratch their backs. Their fur is soft and fluffy, like petting a pillow. They go back and forth around each other, suddenly not able to get enough attention. Well, it's not like I don't know how that is. Night falls, and even I start to get tired too. Aspen hasn't moved at all, other than to toss and turn occasionally. I send a quick message to Juliet to tell her where I am, then set my phone down next to Aspen's on her nightstand, beside the printed pages. It all feels very normal, but in a good way. The little fox in the grove could have never dreamed of the things she'd see one day. Planes, phones, apartment buildings. All she knew of humans was a kind touch and a piece of paper. In some ways, that little fox never changed. Moving as carefully as I ever did in the middle of a heist, I flick off the lights, half expecting the sudden darkness to disturb Aspen, but she doesn't budge at all. Oh my gosh, it's happening! Same goes for when I climb into bed beside Aspen. Oh my gosh, I wrap my arms around Aspen, draping my tail across us both. She moves slightly and I curse myself silently. I must not have been careful enough. Her voice is less than a whisper, it's barely a breath. Oh my gosh. I've never felt so lonely in all my life. Oh, stop. Within seconds, she's sleeping again. Before I myself drift off, there's a soft thump on the bed beside me, and then a second one. Yeah, before I myself drift off, there's a soft thump on the bed behind me, and then a second one. Oh, we actually get to see her kitties, and they're so cute. Oh my gosh. Something warm and fuzzy rests against my back, and then again near my legs. I crane my head to look at the cats. They're both curled up into balls, paws near their faces just like their owner. Byron stares at me in the dark, probably wondering why I'm looking at him. Deciding he doesn't care, he closes his eyes like Percy and Aspen. Feeling more content than I can ever remember, I shut my eyes as well and drift off into sleep. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Oh, I love that so much. Oh my gosh. I can't even with this game. The longer the whole dating stuff is going on. Oh? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I wake up to a sound from hell. It screeches and blares so loud that it hurts. My eyes shoot open in an instant and I sit bolt upright in a place I don't recognize. Is she like having like a trauma attack? Where am I? What's going on? Beside me something moves. I start at the pulsing lump in the darkness and suddenly remember the answer to my own questions. I'm so disoriented I forgot I was at Aspen's. She rolls over onto her other side, not reacting to the sound. Instead, she looks confused for other reasons. I nod, too tongue-tied to know what to say at first. Pushing herself up onto one arm, Aspen reaches all the way across me and fumbles around until she grabs her phone. As she pulls it past my face, I realize it's the source of the noise. She presses something on the screen and the sound disappears. With a groan, she drops her phone onto the blankets between us.
Time to wake up.
My racing heart begins to slow back down. It was just her alarm clock, duh. I feel silly for being so panicked, but it really took me by surprise. I'm not sure Aspen even noticed. She rubs her eyes sleepily.
I'm not still dreaming, am I?
I shake my head.
I don't think anyone could still be dreaming after that.
Why didn't... I didn't...
Her thoughts stumble off into a yawn, and then she tries
You were
again.
supposed to wake me up.
Only before I left, so I didn't leave.
Even half asleep, she still manages to smile. Rolling onto her back, she looks up at the ceiling with half-lidded eyes.
My day's already been made.
Oh, stop. I feel like I wasn't wanting them to talk more about what happened, because if Aspen didn't notice, then she didn't notice. But I kind of wanted like a little bit more of like Miho's thoughts about what just happened. Like it even got like the super serial music going, and then it just kind of like ended. I'm like, oh, ha, I don't know. Especially with that sentence, like how it started. Like, hang on, I can go back up to it, right? Do I have to actually pull the little thing? I wake up to a sound from... Yeah, it felt so serious. I thought something like major was happening. That... Whatever, I guess. Okay, I guess we're moving on from that. Sure. Sorry, I was adjusting my mouse. Dude, the two of us are some of the only pedestrians out this early. A few cars and the occasional school bus may pass us by, but for the most part, the walk to the library is quiet. When we get there, Juliet's already waiting in the kitchen.
Morning, you two. Morning. Hello.
Go ahead and have a seat. The coffee's ready and breakfast will be soon.
Thank you, Juliet. You're a treasure.
She really is. She's so great. Honestly, I knew this was going to be like Aspen's route and that Juliet would get a lot of focus in like the in her own route, obviously. But I'm sitting here like, I kind of really miss Juliet. I was expecting her to take like such a backseat, you know? Like I was expecting her to like be a smaller part of the story than Aspen, obviously. But I'm like, I wasn't expecting this. I miss Juliet. She pours herself a cup of coffee, even though she already had two before we left her apartment.
My pleasure. I'm glad to have a reason to cook.
Aspen nurses her drink, taking tiny sips while nearly dozing off against my shoulder. Juliet finishes the food while I spread out the dishes across the table.
Thanks, love.
Aspen mumbles as I set her plate in front of her. Even with the coffee, it seems like she may fall asleep at any moment. I'm not even sure she knows what she said. I hear her loud and clear. What do they call it? A pet name? It feels really good. If Silver was here, I'm sure she'd have a bunch of witty things to say about that. As I finish setting the table, Juliet brings a pot and a couple of plates of food. Breakfast today is oatmeal with some fresh fruit and a waffle with syrup. That seems to get Aspen to perk up a little bit. After we finish eating and clear everything away again, she finally seems properly alert and awake. After another cup of coffee too, of course. I've spent too much time with Aspen over the past day, and when she stands up to go to work, it takes me by surprise. I'd forgotten she'd have to leave. Aww. When she says goodbye to Juliet, I walk with her to the door. Neither of us want to let go of the other. Oh, but eventually Aspen takes her first step outside.
Have a good day at work.
Again, we could walk her to work, though. We could do that. I don't see why we never do.
I will. Thank you for yesterday. And today. Even if I slept for most of it, it was nice to wake up beside you.
Yeah. We should do it again sometime.
Absolutely. After this weekend...
Honestly, I super thought that was gonna get Aspen to be all blushing, like, oh my gosh, what did you just say? Like that kind of thing. That's why I was laughing so hard, because I'm like, oh, look at Mio being so brazen about it. I love it. See, she searches for the words.
You'll be able to breathe again.
Exactly.
It feels like she might say more, but then with a small shake of her head, she gives me a kiss goodbye. I read that backwards, but that's fine. I do that a lot, I've noticed.
Bye, Miho.
See you soon.
I watch Aspen go until she disappears from sight. I go back to the kitchen to grab a drink, and I'm surprised to see Juliet still sitting at the table. I'm so used to her going to bed when Aspen leaves.
Now you're gonna be extra tired too.
I sit down across. I hope that we just have like a chat. Like even if she just wants to talk about like, ooh, you spent the night at Aspen's. Like, can we have a chat? Can we just talk? Just me and you, man. I sit down across from her and she chuckles, but there's a real concern in her eyes too.
So I wasn't imagining it. Is she all right?
She's...
Going to be? Not getting enough sleep? Stressed out? Pushing yourself too hard?
She's Aspen.
Now Juliet really laughs.
Yes, fair enough. From the moment she told us about that conversation with her editor, I worried that something like this would happen.
Which part? How'd you know?
Juliet collects her thoughts before answering.
That book of hers was all Aspen could really think about. Even when we discussed books by other authors, it always came back to her own stories. And yet, for the conversation and all the advice, I couldn't begin to tell you what her book is even about. Could you?
No. I shake my
I
head.
don't know anything about it either.
I thought not. Do you remember a few weeks ago when she first told us she'd sent in her manuscript?
Yeah.
She was going to surprise us with good news, but changed her mind.
Indeed. At first, she didn't want us to know until she had the contract in hand. In other words, until she was sure it's good enough. She feels she has so much to prove, not just to herself, but the world. Chasing perfection that's unattainable. So much of her heart and soul has gone into those pages that I can't help but imagine she takes every rejection personally.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's just like writing though too. That's one of the reasons I've have struggle like showing people like what I write, because like there's so much of you that goes into every page that's like people being like, oh, it's bad or I don't like it, especially people that you like personally know. It's like, oh, that's like a big hit against me as like a person, or at least I feel like it's not, so it isn't what it feels like it is.
As a rejection of her, and not just her work. Because in Aspen's eyes, I believe they're one and the same.
She said that this could be her only chance, and that's why she has to take it.
To Aspen, who's only ever seen one pathway forward to the future, I'm sure it seems that way. Even if from the outside, to you and I, that so clearly isn't true.
There's a bunch of other stuff she's good at too, besides writing. Like running a cafe or doing research. Those are things that even I know are useful.
Slumping down in my chair, I stare at the small ring of coffee on the table where Aspen's mug used to be.
I wish I could help her. She's done so much for me. But it was all I could do to even get her to sleep.
I'm sure that your presence and care for her help more than you know. In the end, painful or not, it's up to Aspen to learn from her experiences. After all, it's one thing to know something from reading it in a book or hearing it from someone else. It's quite another to live through and experience something yourself. You and I can't grow for her. We can be there for her. Sometimes, a kind word and the knowledge that we aren't alone can be the support that we need.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Preach
The
it, girl.
strength
Preach
must
it.
come from within ourselves. Whatever choices Aspen is faced with, only she can make them. All we can do is offer our comfort and guidance. And Miha?
I look up from the ground, meeting Juliet's gaze. Although she's not angry or upset, she's unusually
Don't forget to
serious.
care for yourself too. It's easy to get caught up in the euphoria of love, which isn't a bad thing. But just as you cannot live Aspen's life for her, you cannot live your life solely for her sake either. By all means, love passionately, and deeply, and recklessly. But don't forget to live for yourself too.
Mm-hmm. I find myself on the verge of saying, I know, but catch myself. Instead, I just nod, because I also know what Juliet herself has been through to find herself offering that advice. With a smile returning to her face, Juliet's serious demeanor lightens a little.
Now that I've prattled on for a while, I do think I'll get some rest of my own.
I manage to smile
Sleep
back.
tight.
Thank you.
She starts to exit the kitchen, but as she passes me, Juliet pauses and then backtracks a
Perhaps
step.
it was just the light, but is there something different about your bead?
Huh?
Oh, what's causing it? What's causing it, though? I hadn't even looked at my necklace today. I take it off to see what Juliet's talking about. Oh. What? It's still glowing no more or less brightly than it was yesterday, I think. But turning it over in my hands a few times, I notice something.
It's
Sure enough, she's
cracked.
right. There's a hairline fracture running across part of my bead. It's so small that at first it looks like an eyelash or a piece of dust. But when I rub my fingers over it, I can feel the subtle ridge. As well as a light tingling sensation from my fingertips, like my fingertip
May I
is
see
falling
it
asleep.
closer?
You can try. I hold up the necklace for her, angling it so she can get as clear a view as possible. Of course, I can't let go or it would go back around my neck. Juliet starts to reach one hand for it, but then changes her mind, instead of just leaning close to examine. Finally, she shakes her head.
Unfortunately, I can't discern anything more than the obvious. Your magic remains foreign to me, like a book in an unknown language.
What does it mean? Why is it breaking, though? Why is it breaking? Is it like freeing her from it if she gets like all these good memories in it or something? Like all these memories are going to eventually free it? Or is it because like she's like almost building up too many memories that aren't actually going into it? Like too many people actually have memories of her? Is that like, that was a thought I also had, like, is something bad going to happen where like no one can remember her ever if like she like doesn't get forgotten? When all this started, like last episode or this episode, I don't remember which, was like, oh, what's happening? Oh, I'm so scared. I can't help but be reminded of the
What do you
scrolls
think it could
upstairs.
mean?
For a long moment, she's quiet. Even before
I don't
asking, I
know.
know the answer.
But I don't think it's coincidence or random.
Same. Like after like it has to have something to do with like how she's like feeling now. I don't necessarily think it has to do with like the memories that are in it, but I think it might have to do with the memories that are like forming, like she's forming herself, or other people are currently forming of her and still have. Like, why would it's been getting brighter ever since like things started with Aspen, right? I'm pretty sure that's when it started. And now after like the night that they had, like they shared the night together, and now it's cracking. Like that has to be that like she says, it can't be random.
Either.
I'm sure the frustration in my voice is obvious. It's always questions, and rarely any answers. It's getting harder and harder to push them from my thoughts. Rather than repeat our goodbyes, Juliet places a reassuring
I
hand on
have
my
faith
shoulder.
that when the time is right, you'll know what to do. Trust in yourself. The same way you look at Aspen and don't understand how she undervalues herself. Slow progress is still progress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I nod and she goes off to bed. Progress. I just wish I knew what I was progressing towards. Yeah, no, but like for real though, I'm so scared of what this is gonna be. But for now, I think that's a good spot to end. And the next one we'll pick up with Hatiti Park with what I'm assuming is gonna be either the play itself, because it has been weeks now, and I don't think most plays take like months to actually like prepare for, at least in my experience. But like this could also be like a fiction world where like we have the play ready in like a few weeks or something like that. I don't know, or like 2 weeks at this. I guess like three. Yeah, three. But yeah, we're either just gonna probably be doing rehearsals or actually like doing the play. So I granted, I don't want it to be the play because I obviously want like Aspen and Juliet to be there at that. That'd be fun. Speaking of which, it was also just nice to be able to talk with Juliet again. She's great. She's such a lovely person. But yeah, that's a good place to end. I'm rattling at this point. I'm rambling. So yeah, with all that being said, I will see all you beautiful, beautiful people in the next one. Bye bye.